How many of you have heard of the marshmallow test? Seriously, because it's really common. So who has not, more likely? Because I don't want to play the video. Oh, okay, a lot haven't seen the marshmallow test. Does this work sound-wise? No. I thought you were an IT guy. It doesn't work. Okay, so if we can get that video playing, that'd be awesome. Oops, sorry. Oh, you're going to have to do this. No. I don't know. Oh, there. Oh, it's on the screen. Right click and... Oh, great. I want you to watch this carefully because we're going to discuss it. Most of you probably already have seen it. While this is playing, I want you to have a think about which person are you? Would you have eaten it? Would you have picked at it? Or would you have waited? She wasn't going to wait this one. Okay. Okay, marshmallow test. A real experiment that was done to look at the self-control of children and to see, because there was always this theory that children lack self-control, so they wanted to see whether it was true. And what they did is what's called a longitudinal study. A longitudinal study means study that's been done 4 years or more on children, and they followed these children through right into adulthood. And the findings were phenomenal. They found that the children who were able to wait had better careers, had better relationships that lasted longer, and were able to wait in terms of having a relationship before marriage, which is really interesting statistics. What is it about self-control that allows us to stop and think before taking action? So if we have a look at where the lack of purity starts, we'll come back to that. It starts with the eyes, like Adam and Eve. If you read the chapter, it says, she saw it was good to eat, and then she gave to Adam. So we start with the eye. That's the initial beginning of any sin that we see and it looks attractive. And we often say, once it gets in and we've seen it, that's where we want to stop, okay? But it doesn't happen. So let's have a look at that. If we have a look at the research of the brain, And what happens when we see an image, just drawing this very quick image of the brain, what happens is we have these synaptic growth that happens in the 4 areas of the brain. Okay, we have this everywhere, right through, right, everywhere. And what happens is every time we practice or think more than a few times about a certain image, it then imprints. It becomes stronger and it stays in the brain for much longer. And it's much harder to forget that image because it imprints, okay? And that's what happens right through in the brain. The brain has different parts, and some of you probably know more about this than me because I only know generally. I'm not a doctor or anything. But this part of the brain, brain 1, closest to the cerebral, that part is responsible for the survival. Okay, so a child's survival, it's what gets them eating, breathing, and helps them with brain 2, what we call the growth part of the brain. Growth 3 is what's responsible for your emotions and your psyche and your friendships and your emotional, social well-being. And brain 4 is what we say is responsible for logic, for constructive thinking, for the full frontal cortex, which really does all the major thinking. And what happens is when we see images that are appropriate or inappropriate, they start imprinting in different parts of the brain. And it's when it gets here to the prefrontal cortex where the action comes out. Okay, so the behavior happens. So we see it, it imprints, and then the behavior. Okay. So if we look at imprinting, which is it has to happen for us, for our growth, for our brain growth, we have to really think, how much are we seeing of anything, because that's what's being imprinted in the brain. All right, let's move to the next part. Once it's imprinted, because the eye saw, it then stores in the mind, which happens mainly in that part of the brain, brain 4, what we call brain 4. Okay, and once it hits the mind, it plays in it. And it keeps playing over and over. It replays, a bit like a movie. Okay? And what the Bible calls that is covetousness. Okay? So covetousness is really just lust associated with covetousness. And it's an excessive desire for something or someone that belongs to somebody or someone else. Okay? So we're looking at this desire that's playing in the mind, this image that's playing in the mind, is what we want to see all the time, and it's just a replay. But the behavior hasn't happened. Okay, so the output, this part here, is what we have as the output or the behavior. So all it's doing is it's playing, it's recalling, it's remembering, it's just replaying. Now, I want somebody who's a really clear, good reader, who's not going to stumble. Really? Okay, done. All right, come out. You've been voted. Big, clear voice. You're going to have to use your phone. I forgot my Bible, which I never forget. It's not there. Get your phone out and open. And everyone else can open to this too, please, so you can follow. What's your name? Elias. I want you to follow with Elias while he's reading. 2 Samuel chapter 13. I'll tell you when to stop. 2 Samuel, wait till everyone finds it. I'll allow you this time to use your phones. Big voice, Elias.
After this, Absalom, the son of David, had a lovely sister, whose name was Tamar, and Amnon the son of David loved her. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick. She was a virgin, and it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimeah, David's brother. Now Jonadab was a very crafty man, and he said to him, "Why are you the king's son, becoming thinner day after day? Will you not tell me?" Amnon said to him, "I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." So Jonadab said to him, "Lie down on your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and prepare the food in my sight, that I may see it and eat it from her hand.'" Then Amnon lay down and pretended to be ill. And when the king came to see him, Amnon said to the king, "Please let Tamar my sister come and make a couple of cakes for me in my sight, that I may eat from her hand." And David sent home to Tamar, saying, "Now go to your brother Amnon's house and prepare food for him." So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house, and he was lying down. Then she took flour and kneaded it, made cakes in his sight, and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and placed them out before him, but he refused to eat. Then Amnon said, "Have everyone go out from me." And they all went out from him. Then Amnon said to Tamar, "Bring the food into the bedroom, that I may eat from your hand." And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought them to Amnon, her brother, in the bedroom. Now when she had brought them to him to eat, he took hold of her and said to her, "Come lie with me, my sister." But she answered him, "No, my brother, do not force me, for no such thing should be done in Israel. Do not do this disgraceful thing. And where could I take my shame? And as for you, you would be like one of the fools in Israel. Now therefore, please speak to the king, for he will not withhold me from you." However, he would not heed her voice, and being stronger than she, he forced her and lay with her. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, "Arise, be gone."
Stop. Thank you, Elias. Good reading. I want you to go back to verse 2. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick. What does that mean? If he loved her, why was he distressed? Why did he become sick? Who can answer that? Where did Krolos go?
Like lust, not love. Lust, not love.
Excellent answer. What's your name? Oh, you told me. Bishoy. Abram. I knew it. I just, Okay. What's your answer?
He was probably disturbed by his thoughts. So
He was disturbed by his thoughts. It's an interesting concept.
I think it's more than lust. I think it's mental illness.
Mental illness. Interesting. It's lust, but a mental illness. Now, remember, Tamar did not live with Amnon or live in the same vicinity as him. Yet he saw her. He didn't know her. She was a half-sister from, one of David's many wives. But he didn't really know her well. He just lusted for her. Okay? So he saw her. It imprinted. So we're up to the mind. Okay? It played on the mind. And then he was so consumed by his desire that it entered the heart. The desire entered the heart, right? And so what happens with lust and with desire is after we see, we chew on it in the mind, it then moves to the heart. And anything that moves to the heart is very hard to stop. Once it gets there, that's what Jesus talks about us having the heart of Christ, having his heart. So once it hits the heart, it's very hard to stop that. Can I just ask, is anyone in this room married, in the church married? Are there any couples? Don't think you're safe. Satan will attack even married couples with the sin of lust. And sex is not wrong. Of course, you're married couples, it's going to happen. But I'm telling you that there is a way Satan goes in to turn the lust within your relationship, to turn sex in your relationship into lust and make it something not from the Lord. Okay? Now that's not, what I mean by that is he turns our eyes to other things like other women or other men, to look at them, to wish to be like them, to have like them. And that look outside of your marriage is the lust and lack of purity. Okay? So it still can happen even after marriage. Okay. Once it hits the heart, I want an example of where lust hits the heart really hard, like Amnon. Who else is a good reader? Come out and read the next little story. I'm going to get someone voted in. Okay, come out. What's your name? Shoy? Did you tell me that at the beginning? Oh my God. Okay, Bish. 2 Samuel, can everyone open 2 Samuel chapter 11? Now, what's really interesting about what you're about to read is it is the story of David and his lust and his sin. And Amnon is the son of David. And Amnon's story is in chapter 13. David's story is in chapter 11. David fell into the sin before his son. Now, again, for my married families down the back there, married couples, if you are a good example of purity, your children will be. Okay? Because they're looking up to that and they're seeing that as the perfect example. Bish, 2 Samuel chapter 11. Everyone follow, please. Yeah, verse 1. Yeah.
It happened in the spring of the year, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the people of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David remained at Jerusalem. Then it happened one evening that David arose from his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman bathing.
What? He saw. Step 1 for loss of purity. Keep going.
From the roof he saw a woman bathing, and the woman was very beautiful to behold. So David sent and inquired about the woman, and someone said, "Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite?"
Right, stop for a second. So it's gone to the mind because he's inquired about her. And someone's told him she's married. And yet it's playing on his mind. So even though there's obstacles, the first obstacle is he doesn't even know her. He just saw her and he saw she was beautiful. And then he then inquired about her. So that means it's gone to the mind. Keep going, Bish.
Then David sent messengers and took her, and she came to him, and he lay with her. For she was cleansed from her impurity, and she returned to her house. And the woman conceived, so she sent and told David and said, "I am with child."
Okay, pause for a second. So this is interesting. This lady, Bathsheba, it's not the same type of thing as rape, like what happened with Amnon and Tamar. She sounds like she consented, but why? Because she was a good woman. Yes, she was a good woman. We know that from later readings about her. Why? She consented, but why? Because he's the king. He's in a position of power. And Okay, let's not go into that depth. But what I'm saying, I might have used the wrong word, consent. She accepted, or she may not have even accepted, she was manipulated to. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I agree with you. I agree with you.
That's my fault. I said consent.
And I probably went with it. She lay with him probably because he's the king. So she might have been fearful. She might have not really understood, and we don't know. She might have felt, wow, like the king wants me. Like she might have, we don't know. Okay, so it doesn't really specify, but we know it wasn't rape. Okay, but it's now moved to the heart where he loved her. And I'm saying he loved her and it's come from the heart because later on he cares for her. It's not like Amnon where he tossed her out, right? And he said, get out. And she said, you can't do that. You've just raped me. At least marry me now because I'm now shamed. But with David, he actually loved her and married her after her. Yeah.
But is that because he had a child? Like she was with child?
I don't know if that's why he loved her. I think he actually loved her, and I think it moved to that. I think it did. Or he could have pitied her, or David was very merciful as well and very loving. Remember, he had a heart after the Lord, so probably. Just read for me. Oh yeah, and then she had a child. That's all I wanted. I wanted to show you how it moved to the heart. Thank you, Bish. That's it. Back, yeah. Okay. After it goes, so we now know that it starts in the eye, with the eye, then it moves to the mind and we play on it. Then it moves to the heart, okay, and we become very attached to it. Anything the heart attaches to is very hard to break, as we mentioned. Okay, let's move to the body. The body is the action, the output. So the body reacts to the eyes, the mind, the heart, and then the behavior occurs, okay? Another reader. It's only a couple of short verses. Who's can I have a female reader this time? Who's good at reading? Yeah, okay, come out. I did say female. Oh, is he pointing at you? Should I just pick on someone? It's 2020. Good one. Do you want to come out and read for me? Okay. Do you want to come? Well, gosh, I used to beg when the teacher said, who wants to read? Me, but I never got picked. Someone get up and read. It's not that bad, trust me. Oh, thank you. Do you mind if you come out? Because people are more focused when they can see you. All right, everybody open Judges, the book of Judges. Chapter 14. Mm-hmm. 14, yeah. All right, has everyone found Judges 14? Okay, off you go.
Now Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. So he went up and told his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me as a wife. Then his father and mother said to him, Is there no woman among the daughters of your brethren, or among all my people, that you must go and get a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. But his father and mother did not know that it was of the Lord, that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines.
Sorry to interrupt you. What's your name? Sandra. Sandra, can you go back and just read verse 2 again, a bit more slowly?
So he went up and told his father and mother, saying, I have seen a woman.
I have seen a woman. Once again, the eye caused him to look at the wrong person. And even with his parents saying to him, She's from the Philistines. She's not appropriate. She's not from our clan. She's not from our people. He still said, she pleases me, right? From the eye. Keep going. Sorry, I think you're up to 4. 4? Yeah.
But his father and mother did not know that it was of the Lord that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. So Samson went down to Timnah and with his father and mother and came to the vineyards of Timnah. Now to his surprise a young lion came roaring against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he tore the lion apart as one would have torn apart a young goat, though he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. After some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion.
Okay, stop there. Thank you. Okay, can I just ask you to read the next little bit? Sorry, I'm just going to tell you which. Okay, can you skip to verse 15 and read verse 15 and 16?
But it came to pass on the 7th day that they said to Samson's wife, Entice your husband, that he may explain the riddle to us, or else we will burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us in order to take what is ours? Is that not so? Then Samson's wife wept on him and said, You only hate me. You do not love me. You have posed a riddle to the sons of my people, but you have not explained it to me. And he said to her, Look, I have not explained it to my father or my mother, so should I explain it to you? Now she had wept on him the 7 days while their feast lasted, and it happened on the 7th day that he told her, because she pressed him so much. Then she explained the riddle to the sons of her people. So the men of...
Sorry, I'm going to stop. Thank you, Sandra. I'm going to stop for a minute because that's the first one. That's his wife, not Delilah, which is the story you know. But the reason I asked for that part to be read is because Samson was known to be unwise because he had already passed the eyes, the mind, the heart, and now he's up to the body. And that's why he didn't mind being with any woman, okay? Because he reached that stage. He detoxed from being pure, okay? And so he went and continued with different women, even though they were unwise, even though they were not from his clan, and he started to act in behaviours based on what was in the mind. So once we know that once the body is the behaviour that occurs after it enters the heart and mind, this is the action that happens. I'm going to draw something else for you to see what happens within the heart. Okay. Originally, there's something that happens which is the underlying root reason why we do what we do. So let's say, for example, embarrassment. Okay. Let's say I was embarrassed. What happens what does my body do when I feel embarrassed? Like someone embarrassed me publicly. What would be my initial reaction to that embarrassment? Some people will hide. What else? Right? I might be defensive. What else? How do you react when someone embarrasses you publicly? Okay, so the anger is more of an extreme behavior that comes out based on how I initially react, right? Like if somebody embarrasses me now and I say something rude to someone, they're not going to stand up and come and punch me up. That's not initial. Initial is they're going to do some of these behaviors first. They're going to go all red with embarrassment, then they might hide, they might try to respond back nervously to what I said, which is part of defensiveness, then the anger comes out. Okay? That is the output. This part here is the output, this circle here. Now let's look at it in terms of purity. If my initial is I saw the sin, okay, then how do I react to that? What happens when I see that billboard poster that has something inappropriate on it? What happens if I turn the TV on and something inappropriate comes up? What's my initial reaction to that? I pretty much know why we're silent now, because there's a few different ways of reacting. Some people will look at that and they'll go, what? I'm curious. And they watch for a bit longer. And some people will immediately turn it off and try to switch the mind from it. And some people will create an interest to go deeper into it. All right? So if I go into source sin, I'm coming out here and I'm going to watch a bit more. I might research a bit. I might ask questions. Okay? And then the output here, again, is going to be the body. And this is why I keep emphasizing, try to stop it before it reaches anything further. Because the last step is when it reaches the soul. What is the soul? The soul is not separate from the person. It's an entire being. It's a combination of physical and the breath of life. And it encompasses consciousness, desires, emotions, and the person's whole being. So the soul consumes you. It consumes you. And we become desensitized once it enters the soul. I'm going to just end with one little thing that I read in the Purity Code. Has anyone seen the Purity Code book? It's a really, really good book. It's very simple reading. He talks about those stages that I've just summarized through. But the one that I'm just going to read the last part of, don't underestimate the power of lust. It often starts with our eyes, moves to our minds, then it reaches our hearts, and is sometimes acted out with our bodies. All four of those areas of your life are tied to a soul and a commitment to that sin. Be careful. It will consume you. Has anybody ever read about Rasputin? Okay, so very popular figure, Rasputin. Yes, that's him. Yes, he did. He had this addiction to sex to a degree that it was embedded in his soul. And he even believed that it was so righteous, because he was a devout Christian. He believed really that he was so right in it that he convinced the women that he slept with that he was purifying them, preparing them for heaven if they slept with him. So that's the kind of example that has moved to the soul, okay, where his whole being has been consumed by this sin. And he convinced even the Tsar of Nicholas and the Tsarina, his wife, that he was a miracle man because he was able to do this amazing trick of purifying people and telling people about their future, which was nothing. And so what I'm trying to say to you is using him as an example that the more we think about something, the more we believe in it, the more we're going to try and convince others of that wrong act as well. What do we do about it? Stay in environments that encourage purity. So you're in the right place. you can, you all have similar values, similar standards, so hanging out with those sort of people is important. Know your triggers. What triggers you to be lustful? Pornography is the number one attacking factor. Even if you think it's small, it's innocent, I'm just having a quick look, I'm a guy, it doesn't matter, I'm going to stop when I get married, and all those excuses I've heard over the years, it doesn't work. It's not going to work at all, because it is the imprint that we spoke about. And it plays on the mind because it becomes addictive and it needs to be repeated. So know your triggers. Being alone in certain places, on the computer, or at night for some people, or whatever, be careful. I recommend you stick to a structured routine, because if you have a routine in your life, you're more likely to move into that next stage of your routine, rather than sitting bored at home, not knowing what to do, and then opening what it is that triggers you. Join groups. I'm really passionate about learning anything that is of interest to you. So, like for me, I do like one subject at theological college a semester. I'm only doing it without assignments, just as for a learning, so you just enroll in the subject. And you can enroll in different subjects that spark your interest. You attend once a week, but it's really good for empowering the brain to think, and you're learning new concepts, and it doesn't drag time, sitting there doing assessments and things like that along with busy lifestyle. But again, it's an opportunity to continue your learning in something that's pure, and something that attracts you closer to God. And focus on things that are important, like your career, etc. I know you already know these points, okay? Like go to church regularly and have communion and that. But I am going to emphasize, because you're over 25's group, I am going to emphasize that you all dip into serving in Sunday school. I know there's this new phase thing going around where everybody's saying, you don't have to be a Sunday school teacher, you can serve in many other ways, it doesn't have to be that. But what I find is when you actually serve children and they're going through the same problems that you went through growing up, you're more effective in developing them and helping them overcome the problems in growth, and you're forced to read the Bible and study it, because you can't deliver a lesson unless you have. And that's what's going to help your growth. I know working in the canteen and serving in, picking up things and fixing things around the church is good, but there's nothing like actually taking a Sunday school class and serving them to help develop the brain to think of good things, because you're forced to pray, you're forced for your children, you're forced to read the Bible. It's a really good way to pull you away from anything that is not appropriate. Sometimes after I do these talks in different churches, people want to chat. Today I'm going to flee because you all came really late. So if you do, you can email me first and then I can contact you if you need to. That's it, because I've got to go. Sorry, I know I'm rushing question time, but is that okay, or did you want to, is that all right? Or I can probably... no, I won't say one question. I have to go, really. Sorry. Okay. But you can email me and then I can get back to you if you need to. Thank you. You're a lovely group. I'm from a very, very, very small church, so I'm not used to seeing so many youth in my church all coming like this. I think this is wonderful. You've grown so much.
Yep, so thank you so much, Melinda.
Pleasure.
Apologies on behalf of everyone, we did come late, so apologies about
It's in every church. We nag ours, come early, but it doesn't work.
But thank you so much for tonight. And just for everyone, there's no really announcements, but thank you all for coming. the next talk in 2 weeks, Abuna Antonio is going to be giving it, and it's going to be, I need to double check the title, but I think it's about the recent changes, I think, with the Orthodoxy churches and the Catholic churches. I think there were some recent changes. So Abuna Antonio will be talking about that. But yeah, thank you everyone. I guess we'll just cut it there. So thank you for coming. There's food and drinks obviously outside as usual. So, 2 weeks. Stand up for prayer. Our Father,